Georgia deer with flintlock pistol and rifle. William Hovey Smith, 2025. Although some interesting things happen, no deer were actually killed on this hunt. This is Hovey Smith, the backyard sportsman. It's not quite light enough to film well yet. I'm at my blind in the pines, overlooking a feeder, and it is before sunrise. The woods are lightening and the birds have just started. Heard the first honkers down at the pond a few minutes ago. And we're looking for deer to move a little bit this morning, and we've also come back and hunt them this evening. This is the second day we've tried. Yesterday we saw no deer, but we did see some interesting things. One was a gobbler with the longest beard I've ever seen on a turkey. That beard looked to be at least 11 inches long. And that particular gobbler is very thin. Matter of fact, except for the beard, one would have mistook it for a hen. It was so thin. What has happened to this old fellow is that he can no longer compete with the jakes in the gobbler flock, so he is by himself. He is losing muscle mass like many of us do in older age. He is weak. He can't fight anymore. He can't do his social things anymore, like breed hens. So he is by himself. And he will very likely not make it till spring. What will happen is he will weaken to the point where he can no longer fly to roost. And the coyotes, which we have, which hunt mostly at night, or the bobcats by day, will take him. So I'm sorry to see the old fellow, but we cannot shoot him, not in Georgia. In some states you may take fall turkeys, but not here. It would be nice if we could take a Thanksgiving turkey during the muzzleloading season. That'd be a nice little bonus, and may ultimately happen, but it has not yet. So we hope to be able to get some film of him, as well as any deer that might show. And of course we'd like to shoot a deer. And we'll take any decent deer that appears. I need meat in my freezer, and that's what this hunt is about. In many cases you will hear turkeys before you actually see them. You'll hear them scratching and clucking in dry leaves. Well, this flock came in absolutely silently, and they're all hens, as is typical this time of year. The hens flock together and the toms flock together, but in separate bunches. So this happens to be the hen bunch I'm seeing right now. Now, I had scattered corn out there, and yeah, they are pretty well finding every piece of it. They're very efficient about that. And you can see finally the last one shows up. They fed over toward the right of the blind now, and actually they're coming back to it and up to it, where I also had scattered some corn. And you'll see some make very close approaches indeed, as I described later. Yeah. Now my guns wanted to take one of these birds real bad, but we had to fight that impulse. Even though, as you will see in just a few minutes, we had a bird very, very close indeed. And there she is. Yeah. Bang. Right there. Yeah. We could have took that bird, but it's not legal. And no, we did not do it. What that bird is, I don't know. He's persistent. Well, it's 10 o'clock. And we're going to head home now and let doggies out and get some lunch. And I want to show you a little bit of the guns we've been using. Now, this is the Pieta. It's a sheriff's model, and I use it as a backup pistol. That is, if I get a deer down and wounded, to finish off at close range. This gives me multiple shots in a hurry. And yeah, I've done that with this gun. It's handy to carry around. That's not a pistol I would hunt with as a primary weapon, however. Now this is a Harper's Ferry 1807. And yeah, I'm trying to take a deer with this. And we actually had a chance today. Yes, we did. We had a doe, about a 2-year-old, come in, started at the feeder down below at about 70 yards, and then came up and approached as close as 20 yards, which is within range of this pistol. Well, I cocked the pistol, and it heard the cock. It wasn't terribly spooked, but somewhat, enough to run back down toward the feeder. And before I could put this pistol down and get the rifle up, it had not run, but walked back out into the woods. So she'll be back probably tomorrow or the next day. But this is her area. I've seen her tracks down there. And we were visited by a flock of hens, 7. And they came up, and every one of these guns wanted to shoot one of those hens. Oh, they were arguing most violently about that. Yeah, the revolver was telling me, yeah, see, I can take 2 or 3 of them. Yep, you can take 2 on the ground and one as they fly off. Sure, yeah, that'd be great. And 1807 said, yeah, see, that one's lined up right there. All you do is wait till she turns a little bit, and then you've got the whole head, neck, and back. And yeah, my shot may fly a little low or high, but anyway you cut it, it would kill it. All right. And then we have our right now rifle, who wanted to pot them, yeah, at about 40 yards and further. Yeah, no problem, it says. It would get it. Yeah. So I have some hungry guns, and they need to shoot something. But they may not shoot turkeys in Georgia in the fall. In some states you may, but not Georgia and not yet. So we're going to head back in, we're going to rest a little bit, we're going to eat, and we'll come back out here and try to be in the stand by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we'll hunt until more or less about dark. I don't hunt at full dark or approaching it, because I've got to see to find my way out of here safely. Plus, I don't want to try to look for deer in all this close cover in the dark. Difficult enough in daylight. So it's not so much I won't find the deer, it's just I'll fall and hurt myself trying in the looking process. On the writing front, my novel in progress, Petrov's Escape, is now in the hands of a proofreader to find little errors in it that I just frankly could not see. That's always wise for writers to do. On the screenplay side, we have the Buzzard Squadron, and it is entered in and competing and has won, actually, in 2 festivals. I want to show you how I have things laid out for the hunt. You see, of course, the 2 pistols, the Pieta and the 1807, my glasses, and now the right now rifle. And it's wearing camo now. I take that to the field with me, and I tape it on with electrical tape. That tape is very useful. It helps me secure my cameras and the blind sometimes. It wraps up my guns. There's the gun case, which makes a convenient rest. And of course, you got to have a knife in the field. And there's my roll of electrical tape, which is used also to wrap the snouts of gators. And my rangefinder, my pen, a broken off toothpick that I put in the touch hole of the flintlocks when I actually load the gun, so the charge doesn't trickle into the priming pan. Of course, my smartphone. And that is a deer call with a doe bleat in it, as well as a small saw. As I was taking the right now rifle off the shelf to put it back in its case to go home, well, a small doe actually came up to the feeder. And I really didn't want to take one that small. So I didn't attempt to take it. And it, even from 75 yards away, it spotted the gun movement as I was moving it. So it took off, and so I didn't really get a chance at that one. But tomorrow, we're going to use the pistols alone and take the 1807 and the Pieta revolver out in the stand in another location where there are bigger and more deer. This is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time.